Caleb Griffian from Harcourts Gold here, just to share some tips to prepare you for auction day. In this video, we're going to cover off a few key points. What to do before auction day, what bidding looks like, vendor bids, what happens if bidding doesn't reach the reserve, and then of course what happens if you are our successful buyer. I know auction is a daunting process, and there's a lot to take in because, it's not every day that you buy a property, but here's some lessons that I've learned in my experience in selling real estate to put you on the best footing to secure your new property. So before the auction, I highly recommend you come armed with three key figures. Firstly is a price that you would like to pay for the property, but know that you're probably going to have to pay a bit more. Second will be the price that you would expect to pay in competition. And thirdly will be the price that is your absolute walkaway price. And if you do that homework beforehand, you can go into the auction well prepared for all scenarios that are involved. So do be hard on yourself, stretch that figure and make sure you've arrived at that absolute walkaway price, because the last thing I want is for you to be 2 to 3 weeks down the track looking back and saying, gosh, I just wish I just paid a little bit more to secure it. So before the auction, make sure that you have completed the auction registration form and returned that to the agent. This auction registration form will contain any relevant disclosures, any requested variations to the deposit payable or the settlement date, and will confirm your position as a bidder on auction day. So check where the property is at the order of sale so you know exactly what time to arrive by. Give yourself plenty of time to find a car park and a position in the auction room, just so that you're not rushing into the auction, worried that you might be missing out. When the property comes up in the order of sale, I recommend taking a position towards the back of the auction room, to the rear, standing up so you can have a really clear view of what's going on. This will empower you and give you a really clear picture as to who your competition is. Let me walk you through what bidding actually looks like at a property auction. You might have watched shows like Storage Wars, where there is an auctioneer rattling off bids at 1,000,000 miles an hour. I can assure you that bidding is way more accessible in a property auction, and the auctioneers will make it super clear where the bid is at and what the next bid they're looking for is. For example, the auctioneer may use words like, I'm bidding away at 500,000 the bid now, who takes me to 25 from here? So the auctioneer has clearly specified where the bid is at, 500,000, and he's stating what the next bid is, i.e. 525. So when we get to the property you're planning to bid on, photos of the property will appear on the screen. The auctioneer will talk about all the wonderful reasons why you should be bidding for and buying the property. He'll take us through the auction contract once more, and that's when he'll ask for an opening bid. And that's when the crowd goes mild. Don't be shy to open the bidding, even if it is at a level that you think is a little cheeky. If anything, the auctioneer will thank you for starting things off, because if nobody else was to open the bidding from the floor, then he will open the bidding himself on what is referred to as a vendor bid. So that leads us on nicely to what a vendor bid is. A vendor bid, as the name suggests, is a bid that is placed on behalf of the owner. It's a clear indication from the auctioneer that the property isn't for sale at that level. They're designed to keep the auction moving forward and to give some guidance to the bidders as to where they need to be on price. When we set the reserve with our owners, we always talk about where these vendor bids will be placed, and be assured that when they are placed, that the vendors would never consider selling at that price point. So when it comes to bidding, the key objective is to give the impression to your competition that you will not stop at any cost. So be sure to wear your poker face. Another tip is not to be the first bidder to drop your increment. So what I mean by that is, say if the bids are traveling at $20,000 increments and your competition drops down to $10,000 increments, keep running with the 20s to assert dominance and to give that clear message that you're there to buy the property. My secret weapon as well when it comes to bidding is the double bid. And what I mean by a double bid is if you're holding the top bid and your competition's hesitating, don't be shy to place a bid on top of yourself, again to send that message, back off, I'm here to buy the house. So it's important to discuss the scenario of what happens if the bidding doesn't reach the reserve price. Many people consider a reserve as the least that an owner will be prepared to accept, when in reality, these reserves are set as a target to meet the owner's expectations. So if you are holding the highest bid and the property hasn't yet been called on the market and announced for sale to the highest bidder, what that simply means is that a negotiation is likely to ensue. And that negotiation may happen in the auction room by either myself or a manager coming up to you and asking you to increase your bid further so that we can then seek instructions from our owners, or we may pause the auction and then negotiate outside of the auction room until we can reach an agreement with our owner. So if you do happen to be the successful purchaser on the day, you're holding that highest bid and that hammer comes down and is knocked down in your favor, then congratulations, you've secured the property. What's left from here is for us to complete some paperwork. You'd simply sign the auction contract that has been circulated to you in advance and reviewed by your solicitor. You'd pay a deposit of 10% to our trust account, and that can be arranged by online transfer. And then thirdly, we'll send the agreement off once signed by all parties to your solicitors, and we'll go from there. I hope you found those tips really helpful. I wish you all the best with your bidding. And if buying or selling is on your radar in the next future, feel free to reach out.